on time. I just thought of something in the car. I'm going to count to 3, and on 3, each one of us is going to shout his name. So basically we get to all hear each other's names, but at once. Who doesn't get it? We all get, okay. 1, 2, 3. Well, nice meeting you all. Okay. So basically, I think this says that this is not a creative writing workshop. This is, what is it? Writing for social media. And basically, they're just some bits and pieces of a lot of things that I've actually learned and have been applying for over 2 years now. I took a lot of courses online and abroad and all this that led to this, and they cost a small fortune. And I'm glad to have taken them because they changed the way I communicate with the outside world, basically. A lot more people now understand what I'm talking about. And so basically...
I'm going to be nice and not say anything to you.
Sorry? Okay. So basically you didn't get a single word I said?
No, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so who knows, who basically can tell me what the difference is between writing for social media and creative writing, basically? Yes.
I guess in the writing for social media, there are certain keywords that you have to use that get the message right
It's actually
across.
the first point on my list.
Cheater.
Okay.
You can't write a lot of paragraphs because not a lot of people read. And there's research that's been done. I forgot the name of the guy.
Jacob Nielsen.
Yeah, that people read and like F for they read the first 2 lines and then they skim through to the bottom of the page. How?
That's the second.
Yeah.
She even got them in the right order. Okay. Anything else? These are the first 2 points. I don't have to even...
You should take into consideration the search engine optimization like that. So you have to think of that before using words.
Okay.
Like,
Keywords.
yeah.
Right.
Search keywords.
And you have to be good at it for it to work.
Yeah.
Alright, what else?
It's like writing for a newspaper. The headline of a newspaper.
It's like writing the headline of a newspaper. Or the art.
It's like the front page of the newspaper that always catches your attention and makes you read the rest.
Okay. So, yes. That's my 5th point.
You can't go less than This will be your 72nd point.
Okay.
One of the things that was hardest for me starting to use social media is that you have to be very direct about what you're saying. You can't make plays on words and little jokes and things that you might do in creative writing to tease or sort of evoke a scene or an atmosphere, because you have very, sort of as Rita was saying, you have a very short amount of time to communicate it, so you better just go straight ahead.
No, wait, that's actually my first point. Yeah. Okay, so you all, okay, you all know everything. Okay.
We're here to help.
Thank you. Okay, so definitely everything that you've said. And I think also that because it's the social media world, people have to, you have to fight for people's attention all the time. So people are constantly distracted by everything. And if you don't, it's not about only hooking them, it's about hooking them and keeping them hooked until you actually deliver the message or convince them to take a certain action, basically, after that. And for me, this is my own personal opinion, my own subjective opinion. I compare creative writing to art and social media to science, although I'm not very pro-science, but there are things I learned and I do them and they work. And this is basically why you'll see Hanan actually helped me prepare some examples. So they're all screenshots This is Notepad. So it's a screenshot. Okay? You're going to see the same example over and over and over again. Not the one example, I mean. A lot of them over and over again. And that's because I use all of these when I write. And when I was trying to think of examples to actually use, the same ones just kept popping up because they're there in a lot of them. So it's not a mistake if you see the same slide. Okay. All right. So how about you tell me what you expect to get from tonight, today? Tinia.
I pass. I expect to learn more about. Well, I know from class that there's a certain way of writing articles online. What I learned was that it was in an F shape, so you put the most important thing in the first part and then the less important, and then because people read in F shape, they're not going to read the whole thing
Right.
because people don't want to read anymore. So I thought maybe I'd learn more about that because it was really quick in
Okay.
class. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. And I think, we'll definitely talk about that. What I care more is why they actually work and what's the psychology behind it. Because once you understand why it
How it
works, you know how to apply it in a lot more scenarios than when you just know a trick and you have no idea why it works and you just apply it blindly. Yes?
Yeah, I was just hoping you could give us examples from the TEDxBeirut website because
They're all
noticed
on
that.
the TEDxBeirut
Oh,
websites.
okay.
Not all of them, but most of them.
Party pooper. Yeah, because drew my attention, like the way we posted the save the date, and then there's the workshop, and then there's the blog about it. So it was concise and straight to the point, and it didn't have a lot of text. So I
Alright. I have a slide for the website. What you're saying is actually
As
above
above.
the limits of the screen. So I cropped it below these. But I'll cover something close. Okay, what else? What do you expect to get?
How to help people and keep them hooked until I deliver what I want them to know.
Alright, I think then you have to go fish. Although I'm vegan, I don't eat fish. Alright, what else? Oh yeah.
No.
No. Okay. I was writing a note, I think a few days back, and I was thinking that when people try to work with other people, they try to see what the expectations are, and a lot of the times people get disappointed because they have the wrong expectations, so they expect something and then they expect something else. They get something else. And then I remembered all these people during a lot of workshops that say, actually, we don't have any expectations. And it made me think, I might write about that in a few days, but it made me think that if you're expecting nothing, right, that doesn't mean you don't have an expectation. You're just not expecting anything, basically. And not expecting, imagine you have a son or a child and you're not expecting anything from the child. So you are expecting nothing, right? So there's nothing, I haven't slept. Yeah, so don't say I'm not expecting anything because that's your expectation right there. You have, right? That's a side note. It has nothing to do with that. Okay. Writing for social media, you're also looking to convince, right? So you want to convince people of something. You're not just saying it right there. And even if you think that you might try to inspire, which has to do with creative writing, part of inspiring people in your agenda is convincing them to do something or to follow on your path, etc. And basically, a lot of these work because they inspire in different ways. And it all goes back to the intention of convincing them in something, either emotionally or logically, all this. And you'll notice that a lot of them work because they convince emotionally, but they last because they convince rationally. So you get to the emotions first, And then once you have the person with you, then you have to give him a way for him to convince other people. Because if the rational part doesn't make sense, then he can't actually go and talk about it. I haven't started, these are not here. Okay, so what I need to ask you is, during today, is not to only listen to the content and take notes and rationalize it and all this, although also try to be aware of how I'm presenting it and how I actually organize or structure things and why I'm giving them, because I use a lot of these things. And if you watch the presentations and what I'm presenting, you will start to understand more about them. And so basically the first thing that I want to actually cover is whenever you want to really start talking to an audience, people would, I mean, it's a very crowded world out there, and one of the first things that come to their mind is, why should I listen to you? Why you? Right? And this is why credibility basically comes first. So if you haven't established credibility before actually starting to write or starting to communicate, whatever you say, no one will actually care because they don't believe that you're a credible source. You can say whatever you like, they have no reason to believe you. Okay, so now observe how I started and tell me how I covered that.
You said you spent a small fortune
Yes.
doing lots of things,
Yes.
studying them, and that's gives you credibility.
Right. I spent more than 2 years doing that, and I use it in all of my work. So I'm not just talking about it. I actually apply it. That's the power of demonstration, but this has to do with public speaking. And although you can demonstrate on social media, I couldn't think of an example. Okay, so this is credibility. You establish credibility, and maybe you're limiting your thoughts, or some of you are, that when you want to establish credibility, you have to do it as you start writing. But that's not really necessary, because people are in a certain context. If they're on your blog, maybe the blog establishes credibility. Maybe the following establishes credibility. Maybe your Twitter followers, they establish the credibility. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something that you write in the first paragraph of the article or of whatever it is. People get a lot of different senses and hints from their context and everywhere without even them being aware of it. Okay, and I think by the end of, if we manage, I don't know, I haven't timed it, so I don't know how long this will take, but if we manage to go through everything, you'll see how in a lot of examples, it's not actually the writing. It's the signs that you get from everything around the writing. Yeah. So for example, this is like notepad, and it's a sign that I didn't prepare, right?
But you got it all in here.
Right. This brings me back basically to my second point, expectations. Right? So after setting credibility, you have to set the right expectations. That's what they all say, usually. What I say is set low expectations, because then it's much easier to impress, because then you can over-deliver, right? And so because, okay, so can you get a sense of how I did that tonight?
So we should also expect to have low expectations when writing on social media, and then, or have
Not you have, set
low expectations.
not low, but I mean lower than
Lower
what you're
than-
going to deliver in the beginning, right? Because if people are impressed or not, it's all about expectations. I might write something that is 100 times better than what you might have written. But if in the beginning I set extremely high expectations, and people are reading your piece and they have really low expectations because you're not that good of a writer, and then you meet those expectations, you're going to be impressed by your article more than mine, although scientifically mine might be better, right?
But